So, we are going to be approaching conflict resolution from a different angle today. Today, we are not talking about a conflict that is violent. We are not talking about conflict with people who have wished to harm us, who we are trying to convince to back down. We aren't talking about conflict resolution between two very opposing parties. Today we are talking about conflict resolution when we are talking to each other. People with the same goals, people who are doing what they can to create the environment they're hoping to achieve. So, to that end, conflict resolution, how we communicate with our contemporaries and co-leaders so we can achieve together. If you are not familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he is an icon in the United States freedom and rights campaigns. He was alive in the 60s, and he organized one of the largest in the world freedom protests that marched on our Capitol to support African Americans' rights. He is an icon and one of my great heroes, so I will be quoting from him a lot. But he said, "Our goal is to create a beloved community." Notice he didn't say our goal is to be better than the white Americans. He wants a beloved community. This is him already avoiding conflict by including everyone. He said, Dr. King, and this will require a qualitative change of our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives. Now, that can be a little difficult to understand, especially if English isn't your first language, but a qualitative change means that it is a change that is by the numbers. We can qualify it, we can see it. We can see this change in our soul. We become what we wish to see. We become the freedom that we hope to have. We radiate it. It has to be qualitative. It has to be something that can be seen. And then we must have a quantitative change in our lives. This means that we can't just change who we are and stay quiet. We must change how we see the world, and then we must be loud. We must change our lives so that when people look at us, they see what we stand for. When a person looks at me, they see I stand for democracy, freedom, and leadership that is based in servitude. I'm hoping that when people look at me, these are the things they see, as well as my immense joy for life and my love for humans. Those things always seem to come out. But I wouldn't be able to radiate those things if I did not have a qualitative change of soul as well as a quantitative change of my life. Before we get into conflict resolution, we must first understand the people that we are working with. We must have respect for them. We must understand how they feel, how they work. We don't need to understand everything, but we must understand that every human is entitled to human respect. This does not mean that we respect everything they do, but there are certain things every person is entitled to. And these are the things that most dictators try and take. So we must know them by heart. The first is life. Everyone has the right to have a life. No one has the right to end a life or abuse another human. This includes physical violence, rape, or even verbal abuse. No one has the right to inflict harm on another's life. Then there is liberty. No one has the right to force a choice on anyone else. Choice is human. Choice is what keeps us who we are. Choice makes us feel in control, and every human deserves to feel like they have a measure of control over where their life is going. And finally, pursuit of happiness. All are entitled to their own version of happiness, unless that version conflicts with another's life or liberty or pursuit of happiness. This means if your idea of happiness is beating your wife, you are not entitled to that happiness because you are now inflicting your violence on another person. But if your view of happiness is having a vase full of flowers on your table, you are allowed that. These are the differences. These are the things you have to understand before you engage in a conflict. You are not entitled to harm another person. There is no justification for it except for preserving self. But under these circumstances, we won't be going down that road because we are learning to cooperate with each other. Then there is another form of respect that we must understand before we can discuss these things with people who have different ideas and different thoughts on how to move forward. This is respect, but it is earned respect. This is what Dorcas is talking about when we talk about being on time. Earned respect is trust. Malcolm X, another great civil rights leader in the 1960s, one who has a journey that is worth looking into, who started as somebody who broke the law and committed violence. He went to jail, came out a changed man. He became a bright light of nonviolent activism, and his journey is worth looking into. So take a minute, write his name down, and read up on Malcolm X. But he said, we need more light about each other. Light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience. And patience creates unity. This is a man who truly understands that sentence. Some people think unity comes from having the same ideas. It doesn't. Unity comes from being patient with each other and having respect for each other. We'll never think the same way. We are all very different, but we can always count on respect for each other and from each other. That is what we are striving for in our liberation. So, earned respect. First, you must have trust. You must be trustworthy. Don't say things that you don't mean. Don't do things that are contradictory to what you say. Do your best always to be somebody that people can trust.
Yep.
Sometimes we make mistakes, and that's okay. That's part of respect. That's part of humanity. Own up to those mistakes. It's part of being trustworthy. Be consistent. Consistency means you can be counted on. You will be where you say you're going to be when you say you're going to be there. You will do what you said you're going to do, and you will do it when you say you're going to do it. You will say the things that you've always said and be consistent in your messages. When I talk to people, I am consistent in my message of love, grace, and respect. Always. Those three things I am consistent in at all times, no matter what the topic is. Consistent messaging is vital to earning the respect of people. Good character. This is a little bit difficult because it means something different to a lot of people. But for our purposes today, good character means your beliefs do not impede or halt the work you do. You keep your eye on the ball. You see what we're going for. You see the goal. And you don't let outside things or even internal beliefs impact where you're going. I will give you a quick example. Perhaps your goal is to throw a party in your little community, your little hamlet. And you have Christians and Muslims. And you yourself are a Christian. Now you want to include everybody and build community. To build community and with Christians and Muslims, My beliefs as a Christian would be, it doesn't matter what I serve as long as it's made with love. However, if I want to include everyone, I would not serve pork because I would not serve pork because that is not halal. Now, my beliefs, it doesn't matter. But I will not let my beliefs hamper what I'm trying to do, which is build community, which is inclusive of all. So I will not serve pork, and I will ensure that there are halal options at this party. And that will ensure everyone feels wanted, everyone is included. And I didn't have to bend in my beliefs. I just did something nice
Yeah.
so that I could include everyone. That's good character. Then finally, being slow to anger. You can't communicate with a person who is yelling. You just can't.
Yeah.
If someone is yelling, they are no longer working within their own mind from a place of reason. They are just angry. We will talk a little bit later about how to diffuse the anger. But just understand, if you are angry, you are no longer rational, reasonable, or acting the way that you deserve to be. You should be acting. You are not working from a place where your mind is where it should be. It is not respectful. It is not trustworthy. It is not good character. And it's certainly not consistent. Okay, more before we can really dive into the conflict resolution, we must first understand ourselves. If we go in emotional, if we go into a conflict emotionally driven, we give all the power to everyone else. If a person can make me angry, they have power. They have the power to make me angry. We can't give that power away. It is ours to have, and we must have that emotional control. It doesn't matter how upsetting the situation is. You do not give the power of emotional control to someone else. It does not matter how cruel or how evil the adversary is. Do not give them control over your emotions. The second you become angry is the second you lose. So it is vital. Now, this emotional control is based more around working with people who have our same ideals and who are moving towards the same goals. So it's a little bit more geared toward rationality, understanding, and open-mindedness. So we can discuss more extreme emotional control at a later date, but for our purposes today, we will discuss this type of emotional control. When you are deciding that you are going to take control of how you feel, but you have to go into a situation where you know that you are going to be adversarial. You're going to be discussing ideas that other people don't like. You're going to butt heads. The first thing you must do is take a breath and don't take the bait. When you're speaking to somebody who has a different idea and who is adversarial, they will lay bait for you to try and trap you into being emotional or into saying something you don't mean. They will say things like, you're stupid, you're foolish, you didn't think about this, you're ignorant. They will say things like, you don't understand, or your idea doesn't make any sense, and I can't believe somebody would think that way. They will say these things, and they will try to get you to take the bait. The worst is when they start double talking, and they say something, you respond, and then they do what's called a straw man argument and take it to the extreme. I will give you an example. Let's say I love ice cream. All right? Super innocuous statement. How can anybody take that as a bad thing? I love ice cream. But somebody who's laying bait and who's double talking will say, oh, So you like ice cream? Well, you know where ice cream comes from, right? So you're basically saying that you support torturing cows.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying, but they take it to an extreme. That's called a straw man argument. And it is an unacceptable way to come to any kind of conclusion that isn't contentious. Do not take the bait. Do not listen to straw man arguments. Then there is, of course, don't lay bait. Don't be that person. Don't be that person who's trying to trick somebody else into believing what you want them to believe. Don't be that person who, instead of listening to another person, is just waiting until they get the opportunity to talk. These types of people have no intention of peace or harmony, and there is no place for that in a society that is built around people power. There's no place for it. So when it happens, make sure that you staunch it out immediately and never be the person who's doing it. All right. Now, an attack on an idea is not an attack on you. I say this often. If you've heard me speak before, you may have heard me say this before. There's many things that come back over and over again that I will continue to teach over and over again because, one, they are vital. Two, sometimes when you hear things over and over again, you get new information out of them. You start to think about things in a different way. So again, I will continue to repeat at times, but also expound. So an attack on an idea is not an attack on you. Even if the idea that you have is very important to you, it's not you. You are more than your ideas. Be a human first, then have your ideas. An attack on your idea is not an attack on you. And going hand in hand with that, if your idea can't stand an attack, like it falls apart, then it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Our ideas have to be fleshed out by our contemporaries. They have to try and take them apart, because if our contemporaries can take them apart, so can our adversaries. We have co-leaders to help strengthen ideas through different avenues of attack. It's not an attack on you. It's an attempt to better the idea or to make sure it's strong enough to withstand attack from others. So if you have an idea and your friends are pulling it apart, instead of thinking that they are hurting you or calling you stupid or anything like that, think they believe in you enough and your idea enough to put the effort in to try and take it apart so that we can see if it will stand up to problems, to other people's attacks. Finally, when we have an idea, we're excited about it, but we find out we're wrong. Admitting being wrong is the bravest thing you can do. Reverend Mufotutu said, "It shows great courage to admit that you have been wrong. Authority is never lessened by an apology. It's only enhanced." If you look at great leaders, they are the ones that apologize when they get new information. They are the ones that change and move with information, standing firm with the things that with their message, in my case of love, unity, grace, and freedom. But changing not changing the core, but changing the way I go about it with new information, and always admitting when I'm wrong. My friends, if you ever see a moment where I'm wrong, tell me. I do not wish to be wrong. I want to know. And this is how you should go forward in your leadership positions. It is not about you or your pride. It is about being a leader. In a time that is difficult, you have got to let your pride go. Your pride is not worth the freedom of your country. All right, now this is how we keep our emotions in check when we are actively in a conflict. So, we have approached. Let's do a little revising. We understand and respect our adversary because we have given them basic human respect. They have already earned our trust as they are a co-leader, so they get trusted and earned respect. We are not allowing our emotions to be controlled, and we are allowing them the opportunity to pull apart our ideas because it's not an attack on us. But that doesn't mean we're not going to still have conflict. And conflict isn't bad. What's bad is conflict that has never been resolved. Conflict kind of has to happen when there's so many people from different places, but it must be respectful conflict. It must be a place where there's no intention of tearing a person down, only intention to strengthen good ideas and make sure that everyone sees the weak ones, the weak ideas, not people. So when we happen to be the person who has a weak idea, how do we keep our emotions in check so that we can get to the place where we are grateful for our leaders for helping us see that that was probably not the best idea? We breathe. I have a little acronym here, BETT, or better, sorry, breathe will be later. Better, BETTER. The first thing you do when you feel your emotions come up, you breathe, you take a nice breath. You do a nice slow 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. This is a biological mechanism. When we feel our heart start to pound because we're angry, and somebody's saying something, you feel your heart, you feel your face start to redden because you're frustrated and angry. You feel your hearing almost starts to mute because you can hear the blood rushing in your ears because you feel that anger, and that's real. But a deep breath can change the dynamic of your biology. It can halt, it can give your heart a moment, it can cause the blood to drain from your face so it's not so hot, it can slow the thundering in your ears. It is a biological need, and it does change the way that you approach the next part. When that person is yelling at you, listen, take a breath, and then restate it. Perhaps somebody is coming to you with a very real problem and they are angry too. And they come to you and they say, I can't believe you did this. This is a betrayal. This is a betrayal on everything that you stand for. This person is attacking me. And it's hard because I never want to betray another human. And so that hurts. So I'm feeling these things. But I take a breath and I say, I hear you saying that you think that I have done something to betray you. Tell me more. Then you take a little time out. And this time out means listening. This time out means when you say, I hear you, I hear that is a problem that is really hurting you. Tell me more, and just let them tell you. And there might be things in there that hurt, but it's not about you. Don't let those things in. Let them express themselves, and then take that time to listen. Then we're going to touch grass. And what I mean by this is remember who you are. Remember what your purpose is. Remember how important you are. Because even though you are doing your best to be kind to this person and you are restating this problem, you still deserve respect. So remember who you are. Remember how important and vital you are. Remember what you're capable of. And if you are capable of taking this slander full on without letting it impact your heart, do it. But do it knowing you deserve respect. After this person has taken the time to tell you everything and you have understood your own value, it's time to communicate. Start the discussion based on a place where you both have found common ground. Perhaps this person feels betrayed because you have signed a compromise with the adversary, and this person feels very betrayed. They've been working hard to defeat the adversary, and it looks like you're working with him. This is a betrayal, and you can see that. But you probably did it in a hope to ensure a freedom or a better community event or something that will improve the lives of the people around you. Sometimes as leaders, we have to make difficult choices. Sometimes as leader, we have to work with people who do not believe the same things we do. And when we do, those who we represent do feel betrayed. And that's valid. So at this time, after we have taken a breath, we restated the problem, we listened and took time out, and then we remembered who we are now communicating with them. You tell them not why you did what you did, but you let them know what happened because of it. You let them know, I understand you feel betrayed, but now we have medicine for these 3 villages. And I am so glad we have medicine. Or whatever it is that you did where you had to work with somebody who you didn't agree with. Finally, this is a person you work with. This is your coworker, your co-leader. So, after you have engaged in this communication and you have found common ground and understanding, you have both expressed yourself, it's time to go get a drink. Now this is just so it spells something, but you can do whatever you want. You can go relax with this person. Remind each other that you're people first. Yes, these things happen, but take a minute. Enjoy each other. Share a joke. Share some tea, some coffee, maybe even get a drink together. Go do something that reestablishes that relationship. Because when we start calling each other, when we start betraying each other, or whatever it is, that's when we get division. But those conflicts have to happen. Those betrayals are going to happen. They're going to happen. So breathe, and in the end, remind each other why you're working together and re-solidify that relationship. It takes work and it's uncomfortable, but it is worth it, and it's what leaders do. Okay, now here's what you do when somebody else's emotion is controlling them. You take some peace. P-E-A-C-E. First one is peace. Nothing they say can diminish you unless you let it. Nothing they say can diminish you unless they let it. Eleanor Roosevelt, the first lady of Theodore Roosevelt, one of our great presidents, used to say, nobody can diminish you unless you let them. And I wanted to make sure I put her name in there because that's another person you should look up. She was a great advocate for equality in all its forms. She was marvelous. But please remember, when people say things about you, you choose whether or not it hurts. Sometimes it hits you right in the face and it just hurts. And those things happen. But you don't need to let it inside. You don't need to. Just somebody calls you ridiculous or foolish or idiotic. You know you're not. You know you're not. So don't let them decide who you are. So don't let it diminish you. And don't give it a second thought. Engage. Now you've got somebody who's yelling at you again. So you're going to engage again. This person, though, has completely lost control of their emotions. They're yelling, they're screaming, they might even try and throw a punch. So first, remember, nothing they say can hurt you unless you let it. And now it's time to try and engage. We're going to validate that person and let them know you're listening. Even though they are angry and yelling, you're going to go ahead and say, oh, wow, that makes sense. I get why you're angry. Let's talk about it. That validation completely disrupts the fit or the anger that they're feeling. Because if you say, oh my gosh, you're right, how can they continue to be mad? They can't. You just told them they're right. from there, you can move forward, because instead of having an emotional person who is incapable of reason at that moment, you have switched it into a person who can reason. And that's what we're going for. So now, this is the trick. You have to be authentic in your understanding. You can't validate somebody by lying to them. You can't say, I understand why you're angry, and not understand. That's the key. You must be real, authentic about it. Be real about your validation. Pretending to understand is patronizing. People feel like you're talking down to them. They feel like you think that they're stupid or children. Do not do it, ever. Be authentic. It is never appropriate to be patronizing. Only say things you mean. Communicate. After this, you're in a place where you have engaged in an authentic dialogue, so now you can communicate. Try and find the real problem, what made them really angry. It's almost never what they're yelling about. Probably 90% of the time, it's never what they're yelling about. It's usually something else. And when it is that something else, you can usually help. And you can help them feel better about working together. And finally, elevate them. Let them know that this anger, well, it makes sense. It happens to us all. You are still worth working with. Working together, even when it's heated, brings us together. Most of my best friends and coworkers, the people I work with the best, are people I've had a fight with. If you know David Sinjinja, I have fought with him tooth and nail about some things. And now we are family. He is my brother, and I am his sister. And the only reason we came to that place was because we respected each other. We understood each other. We let each other be angry when we felt it, and then we came together and elevated each other. And then we got a beer, because that just, bringing that human connection right around again, it always lifts us. Okay. Now, let me check the time really quick. Okay, we do not have time to do working with diverse perspectives. I have a couple of other meetings I need to get to today. But I'm hoping that I paired these two together because there's a lot of conflict when you have people with diverse perspectives. So next time I speak with you, we will do a review of conflict resolution in the workplace, and then we will be working again with, diverse perspectives. Hi. So, I'm going to wrap it up really quick. What to be taking away from this? Make sure that first, respect is there, across the board. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with somebody you know doesn't respect you. You respect them. That is the difference between us and them. We do not let other people decide what we're capable of. But if you start fighting fire with fire, you just get more fire. It solves nothing. And we are not here to just war. There's no reason. We are here to show the different way, to show a stark contrast from the adversary, to show people that you can not only be successful, but capable without violence, without belittling, and without disrespect. We can do it. And when we do, it is one of the most powerful tools in history. It's one of the things that has brought more people together, more people united under that banner than any other in the world. We give respect because even when they don't deserve it, we respect ourselves enough to not let them change us. We respect ourselves enough to not let them change us. That is the power of nonviolent protest, and that is enormous. So, when we are dealing in conflict, especially with our friends, Just remember to respect them, listen to them, validate them, let them know that you are authentic in your validation. Let them know that this is something that is important to you too, because they are important to you. They are. It's not necessarily the idea. Just like an attack on an idea isn't an attack on us, an angry outburst from another, that's not diminishing them either. They're just angry. And we love them anyway, especially when they're our coworkers. Especially when we want to build that trust and that bond. But when you fight with another person and you find common ground, you figure out a way to make it work, you get that resolution, there is nothing like the peace of knowing that you can be mad at somebody and still have them work with you and still have them like you. That's what we're shooting for. We want to provide that opportunity for others. Okay. So that is my presentation for today. I am very, very excited for the next time I get to teach. I do have some time for questions. Dorcas, if you wouldn't mind, I could go another 10 minutes for questions, if that is needed.
Wow. Thank you so much, Teacher Katie, for that enlightening session on conflict resolution. I actually found it really useful, especially points on respect, trust, and the emotional, control. I'm looking forward to, of course, applying these in real life situation. I've been trying to, but yes, I think I'll, yeah. So yeah, what about everybody else, guys? Please put up your hands. Let's have that. I hope you found the session helpful. Guys, I do not see your hands. I will unmute or send the mic to you guys, but at the bottom of the screen, you should have your hands up. Oh, okay. Everest, please do come in. And then Mr. Seguya. Yes.
Thank you very much, my sister Dorcas and Katie, to see you.
Hello.
Yeah, it has been a while. Yeah, thank you also for this initiative of giving our members training. I think we are blessed to have Katie with us today. And thank you very much, Katie, for this wonderful time. Now, the issue I'm having is that the training was fantastic, but it's only for reasonable people. But when we're dealing with the world out of this platform, we're dealing with bandits, idiots, and some indifference. Could you please help us with those notes, how we can deal with such characters? Because some of our members may not even know how to deal with these, because this is where people are intelligent and whatever they're reasonable. But we need to see how can we use the same knowledge to deal with idiots and indifference and also.
Thank you. Sorry, Teacher Katie, I'll take 2 other hands and then you feedback at once. Yes, okay. Comrade Seguya.
Yes.
Time, please be brief. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Dorcas. I thank our teacher today. Some of us missed courses like that. It is really important. But as the previous person who have asked the question here, I'm also insisting on the same thing. We are dealing with a dictator who have killed people in all regions of the country, in their thousands, if not in millions.
Thank you.
So how can we be, however much we try to be calm, he continues to be violent. How can we fight that? Thank you.
Thank you so much, comrade. I think Teacher Katie, I'll take the rest of them. Teacher Mimi, please unmute. Seconds, please, and then Dr. James. Yes.
Thank you so much, Teacher Katie. That was awesome, and I'm just like, I wish everybody could come and listen and pick out something. And I think many times we look at, and I agree with the previous people asking question, but let us look within us, because many times we look at the dictator, but within us there's a lot of conflict that even is preventing us to even as a one unit to attack that same dictator we are fighting. We forget, we are so and my question is just Teacher Kate, is about taking bait in our own community. As us who want to see change, we do not take well baits. People, somebody comes and contradicts what we are saying, and then we are up in fire. So how do we deal with that? And then also, how do we first clean ourselves, our house first, before we look at that dictator? Because we fail to do that. And that is one of the things we do not look, but we look outside what we want to clean up, but we don't look inside what we have to clean in our own house. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Mimi. And finally, Dr. James, and then we'll roll over to Teacher Katie. Yes, Dr. James.
Mine, I think, is not a question, but I'll compliment and perhaps even talk about a shared experience. I am in America, and at least I have taken time and participated in American politics. I can say I have made part of American administration. I have helped in knocking doors and what have you. And I have had two experiences where I have seen practically where people are protesting before a presidential candidate. And what he does is like, he invites them in. Come, join us. And then he asks them, I am the one who is campaigning to be your president, and you're protesting outside. Why don't you come and we talk? That's what makes us Americans. That's the difference that makes us Americans, that we choose to disagree, but we remain Americans. So I have that experience that I have seen here, what I call it experiential learning on the streets. But now I think, Kate, you realize that you're talking to Ugandans. I just like the way they have put the questions to you. It's like we are fighting, and our conflict is so big and different. I don't know how you help us that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. James. Over to you, Teacher Katie. Thank you.
Okay. This presentation was meant to be just between you and the people that you are leading, not against the dictator. I have a whole nother presentation for that. But because it is about, like Teacher Mimi, it's about keeping our house in order. Though if we cannot unite, we have no hope of beating a dictator. A dictator has guns, it's war, it's bad, it's awful, and the only way we can defeat him is being an advocate for peace by being peaceful and by uniting. And those are the things I'm trying to teach you today, is how to stay unified once you've united. There are many Ugandan leaders, but oftentimes it's difficult for them to work together to unite the whole so that they can fight the dictator. Just like they were saying in the little video before, when everybody is split, the dictator's going to win. They're going, if there are 6 different political parties, there's 20 different people trying to run, the dictator's going to win every time. But when people put their pride away, they put their anger away, and they all unify against a common goal, which is to unseat that dictator at all costs, that's when that big change happens. I understand. Okay, I'm not going to say that. I am American. I have no first-person experience with the kind of war and hardship that you are going through. And there is nothing I can say that can really take into consideration what you've seen. And I'll never pretend like I can. But I do know, and I have studied often what works and what doesn't. And getting angry at anybody never works. Ever. It feels good in the moment. That fire, it's instant and it feels good in the moment, but then you have to control that damage. The second there's violence, you become the bad guy. You become the person on the news that is being said, look how violent people power movement is. Look how violent they did this. And the thing is, it's awful because you have to just sit there and let violence happen. And that's unacceptable in so many ways. But if you add violence to violence, we're all lost. You can't win that way. And if you do win that way, you are a dictator. That's how dictators win. By oppression, through violence, through unquenched anger. That's how dictators win. We have to be different. We have to control our anger. And we have to do it knowing full well that these people will not in any way be grateful for it. They will never, ever listen, and they will always treat you poorly. That's the fight we're fighting. And we can either choose to take their bait and fight back violently, or we can choose to rise above it and do what we can to let people see the difference. We can only be unified through peace. We can only be unified through patience, and we can only be unified when we truly try to understand each other's perspectives. Unification is how we will win the day. It's not going to be through fighting. It's not going to be through blows, and it's certainly not going to be through guns. But it's so much harder. We have to be so much better. And we have to just keep pushing. It has already been a long road, and I know that. And it seems like every time you take 2 steps forwards, it's 4 steps backwards. But freedom is not a destination. It's something you continually strive for every day until the day you die. That's what we do in the US. That's why we vote. That's why we protest. We were granted freedom, but we fight for it every single day. Sometimes we lose, but we don't ever give up. And while we might not be in the same situation, we were once. That's how we got here. You are creating a new country, a new, real country, a country that is about to be democratic and hopeful and rich. You are creating this country for each other, not for yourselves. And you are creating it for your children's children, because it's going to take that long. But you will be remembered, and you will be storied, and your life will have so much purpose if you can control your anger. And I'm so sorry that I have to ask you to do that, because it is so much more satisfying to just punch somebody in the face. But just don't do it. Do your best. And when things happen that hurt, like Eddie, who was taken. He was a dear friend of mine. And when I go to Uganda in July, a month from today, I'll be in Uganda. I will go and visit his family and let them know how much I love him. And there's nothing I can do, because getting mad is just, even though I have every right to be mad, he is my friend. But if I let my emotions take control, I'm useless. I can't get him out of there if I'm angry. I can't do anything if I'm angry. I can't communicate if I'm angry. I can't talk to people who maybe I don't want to talk to, but could help me if I'm angry. Put your emotions aside. Keep your eye on the goal. The goal is to free these people. It's not to get angry. The goal is to unseat a dictator. It's not to show everybody how right you are. You might be right, but what do you want? Do you want the world to see how right you are? Or do you want to become the leaders you need to be? Let go. Your pride is not worth it. Your emotions, which are valid, we all feel them, but they do not control who you are, and they do not control the leaders you choose to be. And if you can control your emotions, the world is yours. If you can control your emotions, the world will see, one, that you are not violent, and he is. You can see it, and I know they know it. But every time you make that distinction, that split, more people come to you. More people join you. And it's a slow, long haul. But that's what we're here for. That's what we signed on for. That's what revolution is. It's not that big day where we storm the battlements. That almost never works. It's a great story. Right. People write songs about it, but it almost never works. And we're here to change things, not to make a good story. So put your head down. Don't let your emotions control you. And the next time I'll teach you what to do when somebody is unreasonable, like you said, idiots. I will do what I can to approach that subject better, but let's be clear, it's not a subject that I can teach you all day about conflict resolution, the psychology involved. I can teach you all day about how important humanity is and how everybody can be reached. I can teach you all day about love and grace and kindness. And I can teach you all day about the history of protest. And I have so many things I can teach you, but I am not on the ground with you. I will give you all the tools I can, but you have to teach me some things too. That's part of it. That's part of this whole give and take. There are some things I can't know, given my circumstances. So teach me so that I can better myself and be able to continue to teach realistically. So I hope that helps. I know taking the bait is easy, and we do it all the time. That's the other thing. We are going to take it sometimes. We're going to lose it. We're going to be so angry because it's just so unfair. And that's okay. We can lose it sometimes. Give yourself some grace. It takes practice. But every time you don't, really big win. Because we're not here to judge each other. We're just here to use the tools we have to move the movement forward. That's it. So I hope that helps. I'm sorry, some of my insights are a little bit.
Teacher Katie, could you please allow me compress the rest of the questions into a minute? Do you still have 2-3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Sister Demi, please, in seconds, so that we roll the mic to the two others.
Oh, thank you, Katie, a lot. This is wonderful and wonderful, wonderful, because one of my wishes for 2025 was to have a way of, how we can resolve.
Kale byebyo bigambo mubiwulira bulungi abatume nga tunejjako nakyema tunayatereza eggwanga lyaffe tulina okusooka okukola ebyo ebigwanidde okukolebwa ajja kubanga kuyisa mu ngubu teeso